We've built and ranked hundreds of websites on AI platforms in the last 12 months, and in this video, I'm going to show you the complete checklist that you need to adopt if you want your business to start ranking on AI search. But before we jump into that checklist, we have to understand a vital point. If you do not have a website, you are not going to rank on any AI search. It takes way too much computing power for an AI platform to scan a social media account. It's just simply not going to figure out where you belong on the internet unless you have a website. And if you do not have a website, don't worry, I've got a solution for you later in the video. But for now, for the rest of this video, we're going to assume that you do indeed have a website. So how the hell do you get your business and your website to rank on platforms like ChatGPT? Well, there's quite a few things that we need to check off, but ultimately they fall into two different categories. And the first category is called structure. We have to structure the content within our website to go away from the traditional SEO Google model. And we need to now structure the content in a way that it's readable to new platforms like Google Gemini and ChatGPT. And it starts by understanding what's actually changed with the way people are searching. People are no longer searching for best restaurant in New York. They're going to platforms like ChatGPT and asking more specific questions. For example, where is the best pasta for date night in Manhattan? And understanding the difference between these two questions and what people are searching for is going to be a defining factor on how you will rank on AI platforms. Let's say, as an example, we have an Italian restaurant in Manhattan called Luigi's, and it was established in 1986. We should be saying in the header of our website, the most authentic Italian restaurant in Manhattan. Doing this straight away, front and center on our website, is going to massively increase the likelihood that we are ranked for people searching for authentic Italian restaurant in Manhattan, not only on AI, but also on the traditional platforms like Google. But we can take things one step further by using AI itself. If we jump over to a free platform like ChatGPT, we can build out what we call an avatar, which is basically your average everyday customer. Now, Luigi's Italian in Manhattan is great for date night, and it's focusing on gathering couples rather than getting in loud kids and families. So using this, we can now think about who our core audience, our avatar, is going to be. It's someone looking to impress a date on a date night. In terms of pricing, Luigi's places itself in the upper end. It's not a cheap takeout. So we can use this data and ask ChatGPT to give me 25 questions that my avatar would ask when looking for an Italian restaurant in Manhattan. And just to make things super easy, I'm going to put this prompt down in the description so you can copy and paste it. ChatGPT will then give you 25 questions, and you need to use these questions and structure and frame your website around them. So for example, ChatGPT give me this answer. What is the best Italian restaurant in Manhattan for date night? So now we can use this question to our advantage, and we can go to our homepage, and in the hero section, or not too far from the top, we can put a review that says something like one of the most romantic Italian restaurants in Manhattan, which would answer the question that our avatar is asking ChatGPT. So now that we have a base understanding of how people are searching on AI rather than the traditional Google method, we can now move on to the second aspect to help increase our ranking on these AI platforms. And that is using something that many people think are dead, and that is utilizing the blog post. People spend hours writing blog posts with the intent of people reading them, but the reality is nobody's going to read your blog post, especially if you're an Italian restaurant in the middle of Manhattan. But robots, in fact AI robots, will read them, and it's a key factor that they use when deciphering a question that somebody is searching for. But many people complicate the blog post. They overcomplicate them and overreach when writing them. For example, Luigi's would write a blog post that says something like the top 10 tourist things to do in Manhattan. And it's a big no-no because every other restaurant is writing the same thing. And this type of blog post is more likely going to be ranked by somebody who's actually writing travel tip blogs for a career. Luigi should be writing blogs about pasta secrets that they implement in their Italian restaurant, or another blog post that's about how to woo your loved one on a special birthday, or something about their famous tagliatelle. It should write more focused blog posts about the individual products and experiences that it actually offers as a business. Long story short, your blog is a powerful tool if you use it correctly, and you need to use it to become an authoritative voice in your specific niche, area, and sector. When writing these blog posts, do remember to interlink different pages on your website. If you're talking about your famous tagliatelle, link in your products page or a page dedicated to that tagliatelle. And if you're mentioning a competitor or a supplier, interlink them as well. These links will boost your trust and authority score with all search platforms, including AI, and give it a higher chance of being trusted. It may sound counterintuitive that if you put a link into your website that can lead away to a competitor's website or a supplier's website, it's counterintuitive because you're sending a potential viewer to a different website. But we established earlier, nobody's reading your blog post other than a robot, so it doesn't matter. And this robot that is reading the blog post is going to trust it more because you've put the time and effort in to link different websites. Another little side note and hack here is if you're writing a blog post about a competitor's business or a supplier, be sure to email it over to them so that they can share it on their social media, and they might even write a blog post in return about you, and these backlinks are basically for free. So that is blog posts, and if you're struggling for blog ideas, again, you can go to ChatGPT and just write a blog post about the 25 questions that it gave us earlier. But we're still not done with the structuring side of things, because the next aspect we have to talk about is key data about our business. When an AI platform scrolls your website looking for the answer to a question somebody has searched, it's trying to get all the information about your business. And when ChatGPT or another AI platform gives an answer to this question, it always over-delivers. So Luigi's must show on its homepage, and ideally on majority of its web pages, any other questions that the user or an AI platform may ask. Once you've used AI a few times, you'll realize that you never just get the answer to the question you've asked. It always tries to over-deliver. So for example, on the footer of your website, you need to have your opening hours, your address, your email, some reviews that add authority, because ChatGPT or other AI platforms will then give this information back to the user because it's trying to over-deliver. Remember, the goal is to make it as easy as possible for the robot crawling your website to give the information back to the user. Which brings me on to the next thing, which is about your products and your menu. Whether you are a software company or Luigi's Italian restaurant in Manhattan, your pricing and your product must be front and center and easily accessible. But God forbid you put a PDF or a picture. It has to be a HTML readable page, because otherwise an AI robot is just not going to scan and screen it. Yes, it can read PDFs, and yes, it can read pictures, but it takes way too much computing power to do so. So if you don't have a text-ready web page with your pricing and your menu, it's simply not going to be scanned. Structuring your website this way will ensure that not only ChatGPT and other AI platforms can easily read your pricing, but traditional platforms with old school SEO model can do the same. We've talked about menus and pricing in the past on the channel, so I'm not going to go into much detail on how to structure that right now, but if you subscribe, you can go and see our older videos. So that covers the first aspect, which is structuring. And if you structure correctly, it's definitely going to increase your ranking on platforms like ChatGPT. But we need to move on to the second category, which is all about building authority. It's become apparent that over the last 12 months, AI has become really skeptical, way more skeptical than traditional platforms like Google. So we need to really emphasize that our business is trustworthy, it's well established, and it can build authority quickly. Your website must easily and quickly establish its authority with any AI robot that scans it, and it can be done in several ways. The first bit of authority is not just with the search engine, but also with the potential person landing on your website. And more businesses need to be doing this, and that is just simply having some 5-star reviews listed on your homepage. But don't put a picture of a 5-star review. Again, have a HTML readable format that can be scraped. In other words, a text format, and try and get reviews that are legitimate but also answer questions that people may be searching for. So Luigi's should have a review that says something like, "Took my girlfriend here on date night. We both loved it and strongly recommend the calzone pizza." Now, these reviews do two different things. If someone visits your website, they can confirm that you are a legitimate business and good for date night with good Italian food. But they are also readable by AI platforms, and they help answer these questions that somebody may have searched for. So that's reviews, which is pretty basic and simple. But how else can we increase our authority to rank even higher on AI? Well, this all comes down to interlinking your website to as many other high authority platforms as you can. Think linking it to your Google business profile, your TripAdvisor profile, your AWOL profile, and any other relevant news articles or websites you can find. You should be linking your homepage to as many as possible, because this increases its authority and it's really easy and simple to do. But that said, we need to address the backlink question, because having too many bad backlinks is going to harm your reputation and your authority. I'm sure you've all seen an advert somewhere where you can get 1,000 backlinks for a couple of $100, but this is probably going to hurt your website and your overall ranking, not just on AI, but also on the old Google platforms too. This is mainly because these bad backlinks are irrelevant and not in your sector or location. If you think about it logically, if we're Luigi's in Manhattan and we have 1,000 businesses in India recommending us, it's going to seem a little bit scammish and you're probably not going to rank. Only get links to your website that are relevant and in your location or sector, nothing else. Now, there is a little side hack here where you can get yourself published on a local news website, which usually will have a good domain authority and massively increase your rankings. And if you're super sneaky, you can even pay to get a published press article on a good high domain authority page. But that said, make sure the title and the article match your business's message and stay in the sector and lanes you want to operate in. So if you truly want your business to rank higher on AI, you need to think of it like this. An AI platform is answering a niche question and it's going to give out 3 potential answers. And if you're Luigi's restaurant in Manhattan, there are hundreds of businesses and restaurants competing for this answer. So the platform needs to quickly find answers to that question on your website. So it needs to find a business that not only answers the question, but it also is a trustworthy answer. And if you still don't have a website and don't know where to start, we can take care of it off your plate. There's a completely risk-free money-back guarantee down below on the pinned comment. Remember, when it comes to ranking on AI, you have to structure the content correctly to the questions that people are answering and then be authoritative with your answer. And once you've done this, you can then focus on how to convert the people coming to your website into an actual sale. And if you want to make sure that you do not fall into the trap that thousands of businesses are falling into, then make sure you check this video up here, because 92% of businesses are making a huge mistake.